Support WrestleFlame!
I totally stole that from Wrestle Talk. Is CM Punk returning to the WWE at Survivor Series WarGames? Will Rhea Ripley successfully defend her Women's World Championship? And is this the final time the Judgment Day will face Sami, Cody, Jay, or Seth? God, I hope so. Here are my predictions for WWE Survivor Series WarGames. So for this video, I am not alone. Mark begged to be a part of this.
I didn't beg, you f***ing asshole. I want you to give the real, honest opinions that us true fans have, not your bullshit robot.
Taco Bell again, huh?
Yeah, you.
Anyway, WWE Survivor Series is completely sold out with 17,000 plus fans at the Allstate Arena in Rosemont, Illinois, officially breaking the record for WrestleMania 22. Here's my first prediction. There is no doubt this crowd will be hot for CM Punk. They will be chanting his name non-stop during this event. If CM Punk has returned to the WWE, I predict they will open the show with CM Punk. This would be the smartest decision they can make for two reasons. The crowd will be hot for CM Punk all night, so it's best to get that surprise done before the event so that there will be no CM Punk chants drowning out the matches as they happen. And the second reason is, doing this will create a major buzz on social media, trending the event #1 worldwide the entire night. They could easily wait and do it at the end of the men's WarGames match to reveal him, but if he has signed, he needs to be seen and announced at Survivor Series, and not the Royal Rumble. If he hasn't signed, they should have made it clear that he wasn't going to be there, and that they had no interest in signing him. But that's just my opinion.
Listen, I am saying it right now. Either CM Punk shows up, or we are tearing that f***ing place to the ground. No exceptions. They have teased his return multiple times, and he better be there. Now that's my opinion.
Okay, working on the assumption that CM Punk opened the show, the first match I think should be the Carlito versus Santos Escobar match. Back at Fastlane, Carlito would return to the WWE and join the LWO a few months ago, and only recently we have seen that Santos had a major problem with this. At WWE Crown Jewel during the Rey Mysterio match with Logan Paul, Santos would attempt to help Rey by stopping Logan's manager from interfering with brass knuckles. He would mistakenly place them on the ring before chasing him away, allowing Logan Paul to grab them and deliver a knockout punch to Rey, defeating him and becoming the United States champion. Carlito would not mince words on SmackDown the following week, clearly blaming Santos Escobar as the reason why Rey Mysterio lost his United States Championship. Although Rey attempted to quash any ill will with Santos, it wasn't enough. Santos, jealous of Rey's relationship with Carlito, would attack Rey Mysterio in a vicious assault, telling him he made him do it. Rey tried to fight back, but to no avail, and Santos would get the better of him, injuring Rey's knee with the steel steps. The next week, Santos would give his reasons to the public, even going as far as proclaiming that Dominik Mysterio was right about Rey, and that he hopes the surgery didn't go well, the wound gets infected, and they have to amputate his leg. That was a pretty brutal line. This was wild, and I loved Santos' heel work. Zelina Vega and other members of the LWO tried talking sense into him, but to no avail. Carlito would eventually come to confront him, but Santos would take a powder and run away. On this recent episode of SmackDown, Carlito would come to the ring and address Santos in English and in Spanish, saying that Rey is family and he would do what he had to do at Survivor Series. Santos would come out to confront him and say Rey was supposed to be his family, but if it wasn't for Carlito, this wouldn't have happened to Rey. Two men would get into a brawl at ringside until they were separated by security. Santos would seemingly leave the ring toward backstage, but he actually went around the crowd to jump from the barricade to attack Carlito's arm, injuring him in the process. When they finally got Carlito backstage, Santos would attack him again until Dragon Lee came out of nowhere to make the save and fight Santos off. When Nick Aldis was about to cancel the match, Dragon Lee convinced him that he can replace Carlito and face Santos Escobar at Survivor Series. Nick Aldis agreed and made the match official. Now everything is personal between Santos, Carlito, Rey, and Dragon Lee, and he will face Santos at Survivor Series WarGames. Given the context of this match, this can go either way, but I predict Santos will win this match by disqualification. I don't think it serves either to lose at this point, but from what I'm hearing, Santos will be joined by Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza going forward, so it would make sense to debut them here to cause a disqualification. I cannot wait to see how this story with Santos and the LWO plays out going into WrestleMania. But what about you, Mark?
Listen, Santos is definitely winning. I love this promo on SmackDown. He totally owned Mysterio there, and he's definitely winning at Survivor Series.
The next match is the Women's WarGames match with Damage Control, Bayley, Io Sky, Kairi Sane, and Asuka taking on Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, and Shotzi. For months now, Damage Control has been a force to be reckoned with on SmackDown, dominating the women's division. Bianca Belair returned from hiatus and would immediately set her sights on Io Sky and her women's championship. Bianca would get her chance at WWE Crown Jewel, but would ultimately lose the match when a returning Kairi Sane would attack her on the outside and ultimately join Damage Control alongside Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. The next week on SmackDown, Charlotte, Asuka, and Bianca would confront Damage Control after Kairi forgave Bayley for attacking her years ago before she left the WWE. Later that night, Asuka, Charlotte, and Bianca faced off against Bayley, Kairi, and Io in a 6-woman tag team match in the main event. It was during this match that Asuka betrayed Bianca and Charlotte, joining forces with Damage Control and commencing a beatdown of her former partners. Shotzi would come down to try and help the women, but she too would get a beatdown. The show would come to an end with Damage Control standing tall and the other women beaten down around the ring. The next week, Adam Pearce would inform Bianca, Shotzi, and Charlotte that they needed a 4th member for their WarGames match team by the end of the night. They would speak to Mia Yim, but she was brutally assaulted by Damage Control soon after. They would speak to Zelina Vega, but she too would be attacked by Damage Control soon after, leaving the other team without a partner. With no options left, Bianca encouraged Charlotte to make a phone call to find their final member as they needed one before SmackDown came to an end. Later that night, Charlotte, Shotzi, and Bianca would be in the ring when Damage Control came down to seemingly surround them, preparing to strike when suddenly Becky Lynch would come from the crowd and slide into the ring, officially joining their WarGames team and evening the odds. The two teams had a confrontation on Raw the following week, having a major brawl around the ringside area before being separated by Adam Pearce and WWE security staff. On the next SmackDown, Bayley would attempt to draw a wedge between Charlotte and Becky Lynch, and it sort of worked. Throughout the night, Becky and Charlotte were at odds and having miscommunication. During the main event, this continued and would ultimately cost them the tag team match against Bayley and Asuka. They would argue after the match, and Becky would ultimately leave the ring, leaving the team in disarray. In the end, I predict Damage Control will be victorious in what I think will be an amazing women's match, but I do think Dakota Kai will play a major factor ultimately in the match, giving Damage Control the edge and the victory.
Listen, Damage Control better win this match. We are fucking tired of Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and Bianca, and who gives a fuck about Shotzi at this point? Damage Control is winning this match.
GUNTHER, the greatest and longest Intercontinental Champion of all time, will put his championship on the line against one of the most dependable and talented stars in the WWE, The Miz. For me, this match came out of nowhere, but it was welcome when I realized that WWE was going in this direction. Miz would face off against Ricochet, Ivar, and Bronson Reed in a #1 Contenders Fatal 4-Way match for Gunther's Intercontinental Championship, where he would pick up the win in a controversial finish.
More like Ricochet f***ed up the spot, but yeah, controversial. Continue.
Okay. Because of the controversy, the next week The Miz would face Ivar in singles competition, with the Intercontinental Championship match against Gunther on the line and Bronson Reed watching at ringside. Bronson Reed would get involved in the match, distracting Ivar.
Jesus, wow. Another boring distraction finish on Raw. What great creative.
Distracting Ivar and allowing Miz to roll him up to get the victory and get his match against Gunther at WWE Survivor Series.
Well, I'm just surprised they didn't have Ivar win. This way, he could face Gunther and we could have that big mini-slapping meat match. You know, let's copy AEW for f***ing sake.
You realize Big E, a WWE superstar, came up with that saying, right?
I know that.
Moving on. The next week, The Miz would come face to face with Gunther in the middle of the ring. To my surprise, Gunther held his own against The Miz on the mic, and his promo skills have vastly improved since debuting on the main roster. Gunther would attempt to bully The Miz by pushing him around and then pie-facing him in a disrespectful fashion before attacking and taunting him with the Intercontinental Championship. Miz wouldn't take this type of disrespect for too long, though, and would turn the tables on Gunther, getting the better of him before taking him out with a skull-crushing finale. When it comes to their match at Survivor Series, I think Gunther is on a roll right now with no plans on slowing down, so it's in my opinion that The Miz will not be dethroning Gunther that night. What about you, Mark?
Well, I'm at a loss of words. In a rare moment, I actually agree with you. You finally have a good case for once in your f***ing life. Miz is not winning this match. Although I hope he does, just to piss off you marks. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, I'm sure it would. For the next match, we have Rhea Ripley defending her women's championship against Zoey Stark.
Oh!
What happened?
Zoey sucks. That's what. Nobody cares.
You don't have to comment then. But when it comes to Rhea Ripley, she has only defended her women's championship 6 times in 2023, with Zoey Stark now being her 7th and possible final defense of the year. After Rhea successfully defended her championship in a fatal 5-way match against Zoey Stark, Nia Jax, Raquel Rodriguez, and Shayna Baszler at Crown Jewel, a battle royal would take place on Raw to crown a new #1 contender for the Women's World Championship, which saw Zoey Stark finally get the victory. The next week, Zoey would confront Rhea in the ring, taunting her and proclaiming her victory at Survivor Series. Rhea wouldn't take kindly to this and would attempt to attack Zoey, but Zoey would sense it coming and would send Rhea flying over the top rope. Zoey would try to follow up with a dive from the top, but Rhea would beg off to live to fight another day. The next week on Raw, Zoey Stark and Shayna Baszler would break into the Judgment Day clubhouse, and she would confront Rhea again, warning her to stop being focused on everything else going on with the Judgment Day, and she should be focused on her instead. Rhea would take her warning and would warn her as well. She would get what's coming to her at Survivor Series. Although this match didn't have much of a build, to me it was enough, and I'm glad WWE under Triple H is giving other women a chance to shine in the division. With that being said, I think they have other plans for Rhea, if I'm being honest, and this is just a roadblock for her heading into WrestleMania. So I predict Rhea Ripley walking away with the victory at Survivor Series. What say you, Mark?
Well, I say you're not a complete f***ing fool. Of course Rhea's gonna win this match. There's no way that Charisma Vacuum Zoey Stark is beating her. If this was AEW, I would disagree, but Triple H isn't a dipshit like Tony Khan.
What the f*** does this have to do with AEW?
So shit, if you know, you know.
Last and certainly not least, we have the men's WarGames match that will see the Judgment Day, Damien Priest, Finn Balor, Dominik Mysterio, JD McDonough, with Drew McIntyre facing off against Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins, and the returning Viper, Randy Orton. Outside of Randy Orton, these two teams have been at war for months on WWE Raw, going back and forth, trading wins, losses, and the Undisputed Tag Team Championships, but things finally reached their climax after Kevin Owens was officially traded to Raw for Jey Uso. The Judgment Day has been a thorn in everyone's side for months, and I can make an hour-long video about the Judgment Day, but for now, I'll just start at the end of Raw a few weeks ago. After Seth Rollins defended his World Heavyweight Championship against Sami Zayn, they would shake hands, and when Sami tried to leave, the Judgment Day would come and attack he and Seth Rollins. Main event Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes would come down to make the save, making things even on both sides, creating an all-out brawl. Security came pouring out of the backstage area, trying to break up the chaos, and this would cause General Manager Adam Pearce, having grown frustrated with both sides playing games, announcing the two teams would face off in WarGames. The next week, after declaring himself the leader of the Judgment Day heading into Survivor Series, Damien Priest and Finn Balor would give Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso a rematch for the Tag Team Championships in the main event of Monday Night Raw. Drew McIntyre Unable to bring himself to forgive Jey Uso for he and his family costing him the Undisputed Universal Championship at Clash of the Castle against Roman Reigns, would hit a Claymore on Jey on the outside and cost Cody and him the match and officially joining forces with the Judgment Day. Drew would officially join the Judgment Day on their team for WarGames the next week, leaving the other team a man short. He would explain his actions, stating he is not a member of the Judgment Day, but he cannot be as forgiving to Jey Uso as Cody Rhodes and the others. With the WarGames advantage on the line, Drew McIntyre would get his hands on Jey Uso in the main event of Raw. Hitting the Future Shock DDT, Drew would get the win, giving his team the WarGames advantage. Things quickly escalated as the Judgment Day would come down and attack Jey Uso with Drew, causing Cody, Seth, and Sami to make the save with steel chairs in hand. With the crowd chanting for Randy Orton, going nuts, Cody Rhodes would grab the mic and proclaim that they have a fifth member of their team. Someone he has a legacy with, asking them, did they not know that they had an apex predator with them? It's interesting to note the look on Jey Uso's face when Cody Rhodes announced that Randy Orton will be the fifth and final member of their WarGames team. He looked worried. Of all the matches, this one may be the hardest one to predict, but after thinking about it, the Judgment Day will edge out the victory in this WarGames match. I think Randy Orton is going to betray Cody Rhodes at the climax of the match for some reason. That's my prediction. What about you, Mark?
Jesus Christ, you can't book for shit. That's so dumb. I've seen better booking on CW.
Okay, explain why it's dumb, Mark. Can't wait to hear this.
Listen, with Randy Orton returning, his team is gonna win the match. WWE would be f***ing stupid to allow the Judgment Day to win here. We are tired of seeing the Judgment Day, and it's time to end this shit. Only a stupid moron would say otherwise.
Well, it's not moronic, but that scenario is a possibility.
It's what's gonna happen, you f***ing bitch.
Alright, enough of him. I knew it was a bad idea bringing him on. Anyway, what do you guys think? Who do you guys think will win the men's WarGames match? How about the women's WarGames match? And will CM Punk debut at Survivor Series? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, folks.